Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, whatever time you're watching. This is Chris, the Dating Doc, with the Dating Doc Podcast. First off, if you're in the Virginia, South Carolina, North Carolina region, I am very hopeful that you are staying safe out there due to Hurricane Florence. On the military side, I actually am part of a command that deals with any natural disaster that deal with continental U.S. So Army North is the name of the unit that I'm part of, and their claim to fame was Katrina, and obviously some of the things that happened last year with Puerto Rico. North Carolina is now suffering through Hurricane Florence. Mother Nature is a powerful beast, it's a dangerous beast, unpredictable, and I'm hoping that everyone's taking shelter, taking the safety precautions. If you are listening from those areas, I will personally make sure that I send you a small gift of my appreciation to make sure that you're safe. And also, if you've been affected by Hurricane Florence, then the Dating Doc will patch things up, while we use the doc gimmick there. So, podcast for today is going to be on jobs and dating, specifically careers and dating, and how that affects how your personality affects the person that you end up with, or in just the dating realm. It doesn't have to be this committed relationship. You're going to understand a little bit after this podcast. You'll be more mindful how all of a sudden, because someone is having a late day at the office, it's not just time taken away from you. It's also wondering what skill sets do they bring to the table? What does their job entail? And how does that fit into, again, dating or relationship? So I'm going to start off with me real quick, not to be selfish, but it's kind of easier to frame things. So I'm military and an entrepreneur, as you all know. And on the military side, there's some skills, mindset that comes along with it. So, stereotypically, but kind of erring on the side of truth is the fact that many military officers were very type A. We hate being punctual, at least the ones that care. We do not like being punctual. We're very competitive. We all think we're right. And we're very strong about our opinions and beliefs. Now, I'm cognizant of that fact. So, hold that thought. Now, on the entrepreneur side, I have to be creative. I have to continuously grow and be competitive in a different sense. Where in the military, I'm competitive with my peers and performance. On the entrepreneur side, I have to be competitive with mainly myself. I have to develop myself. I have to learn more about marketing. I have to even learn how to pace myself during these podcasts, while at the same time providing that date coaching advice. And that means that I want to be able to be better than just your midline counselor. I want to be better than a life coach. I want to be better than those pickup artists. I want to be the best version of myself when it comes to being a date coach. So that's the mentality as an entrepreneur, as what I do opposite of the military side of the house. Now, a third job, quote unquote, which is not a paid job, but it's to me even more fulfilling, is that as a single parent. We won't go into that as much. But, that has some little bit of effects, as well as what I've learned through my job, being punctual, as well as being the best version of myself. I take that and use that as a parent. And flowing into the dating part, a lot of the things that I do on the professional side, I want to be aware. I want to be mindful that I can use those when it comes to dating, like not being late, like making sure that I self-develop, regardless if I have one date out of the month or 20 dates out of the month, which I don't, by the way. That's a lot of work. But I know that those kind of skills of self-development, they're going to be there. I'm not doing it to attract a woman. I'm being my best version of myself regardless. It's as part of my habit as brushing my teeth. And I do that about 2 or 3 times a day. So with that said, I'm going to use some examples, and hopefully that can kind of help frame the mindset again, activate your thoughts on how you should be more aware and conscious of the person that you are wanting to date and what they do for a living. So I'll take the example of the baby boom era. And I use that because In that time, there was mainly one breadwinner. Statistically, it was the male in the household, and there was this, there was kind of this I don't know if dichotomy is the right word, but it was complementary, and it worked for the time where the dad was a breadwinner, and the mom, the wife, would stay at home and take care of the kids. Now, let's go 50, 60 years in the future to present day, where we have women who statistically, kind of messed up, tripped up my words there. They are making more money or even more educated than men. So it would not make sense to have a woman stay at home all day, especially if they have the educational or professional qualifications. And at the same time, it should not be, we should not vilify men for being the ones that stay at home and being the dad, not the Mr. Mom, but the dad, right? Because it's kind of to me an injustice. If you really want to talk equality, you can't call a guy Mr. Mom. He's just taking care of business. He's doing his thing. So a woman who's doing her professional side of it, it's called a Miss Dad. No, that's not fair. I digress. That was, you look at two generations there, the baby boom era and the modern era. There's a lot more equality. We're not there yet, but there's a little bit more equality compared to the baby boom era when it comes to the professional side of the house, and that affects the household. Now you're going to have both couples, or the couple, both of them are going to be out and about working. Kids are in daycare. If they don't have kids, then that's going to be even more time that they can leverage to their craft. And they'll be out working. They come back home, and they both can talk about work. They can vent to each other about work. There's that pride in what they do. And, hopefully they're nurturing the good side of the relationship, the communication skills, the intimacy, the 5 love languages, eye contact, the sexual energy, whether it's physical or mental, those things need to be there. Now, taking the baby boom era type of example and applying it to the modern era and having a woman or man stay at home while one works, now what you have is you're going to have one that's less stressed. I mean, that's fact. Okay, they're not dealing with traffic. They're not dealing with the annoying boss or coworkers, or even if they enjoy their coworkers or boss, they're not having to deal with huge projects and deadlines. Maybe at most, if they have kids, they're dropping them off. They're going to kids events, or if they don't have kids, maybe they're working out, taking care of groceries, cleaning around the house. And yes, that's work. That is work. But at the same time, you're not getting a pink slip from your HR because you showed up 10 or 15 minutes late. It's a different mindset. And I would be close to, arguably, we know that the job is not going to be as hard as taking care of the house and taking care of the kids, whether it's the man or woman that stays at home. So what that allows is the person who works, who has a career, comes back home, and a couple different dimensions. Again, this is more in the realm of relationship. The one that stays at home might feel a little bit of resentment at worst because they feel like, hey, I don't really offer much in the professional sense. I'm not contributing to the bank account. But this is the intangible skill. This is what you can take advantage of if you are a stay-at-home wife or husband or girlfriend or boyfriend. Patience and listening. You're going to be the shrink. Okay, you're going to be the shrink because there's a huge difference between someone saying, I can't believe I bought the wrong milk, versus I can't believe I took the wrong exit and missed an executive level meeting. two different risk versus rewards there. So that person who's hustling out there to pay the bills, they're going to need to receive a little bit more patience and listening. Not to say that that's mutually exclusive, that the other person that's coming home from work doesn't need to offer that to the one staying home, but that has to be there regardless. But when you tip the scales, a person staying home is going to have to be a little more patient and understanding. They're going to have to understand that when that person gets home from work, for half an hour, they have to decompress from traffic, from work, from stress. And what ends up happening is, even if you're just texting each other, calling each other, we need that decompression time. And if you're just in the what I call the surface dating realm, which again, surface dating I call, that's when you're just texting, swiping, texting, messaging, you're in the beginning stage, not anything deep, not anything committed yet. That person hasn't texted you. It does not mean they're not interested. It does not mean they're not interested. It just means that they are busy decompressing. Even if it means that they're watching their Netflix series, or they're eating a meal, or they're drinking coffee, or they're playing on their phone, even as they see your text, you got to give them that time to decompress. And that rolls back into the fact that depending on what they do and how stressful their job is, they may need more time for decompression. And the person who's wondering, hey, look, is this person even interested in me anymore? They may need more attention. So both sides understand this, okay? Both sides understand that people need different levels of decompression. Introverts need to recharge on their own. Extroverts may need to go to happy hour with their friends or be around people. We need to be mindful of the fact that what we do at work is going to affect how we react in the dating world. So I take that first example. How we decompress does not mean we're not interested in someone. But if you don't allow that person to decompress because of their job, because of their career, you don't give them that time to decompress, you're going to risk losing them altogether. And there's different levels to the game. If you have a part-time job, more than likely you need less time to decompress compared to someone who has not only a full-time job, but has plenty of evening deadlines. They're going to need more time to decompress. So then you're wondering, okay, what is it worth staying with this person? Why stay with this person if all they do is work? And this goes into my other point that I want to make. The other half of this podcast is the skills that they may bring. Okay? If you're a professional, if you're an executive, we kind of alluded to the fact that you can be very type A, as I can be sometimes, but I'm working on that. I'm what you call recovered type A. But you know for a fact that they're going to get a lot of anxiety if they're late, if they haven't met a deadline, if things just don't seem perfect or excellent to them. There's going to just be a lot more anxiety. But on the other flip side of that is they're more likely not going to be late to things that matter the most to you. They've practiced conflict resolution skills. If they work in teams, if they have to respond to their manager, they have to be a little bit patient because their job's on the line. So if their relationship matters, or whoever they're dating matters, they're going to know how to respond to conflict. This is not to take away from the non-degreed professional. You're going to have folks that work in trade or work in the nightlife or even sales industry, even if they're non-degreed, who have learned those skills. They've learned how to deal with conflict. They've learned how to deal with rude customers, which would equate to an argument in a relationship or dating. So they bring those skills. Now, if you have a job where you haven't worked on these skills, you haven't worked on, hey, look, we need to think strategically on how this vacation needs to look like. We need to look at our budget. We need to look at what places we want to see. Okay, if someone doesn't really practice that in their professional world, then more than likely it's going to take a little bit longer for them to think about things that may matter to you. Maybe you're trying to plan out a kid's birthday. Maybe you're trying to plan out a honeymoon or just a fun road trip somewhere. This is where it matters. Okay, so rewind back to when it's the first date and you ask, what do you do for a living? This is why it matters. It's not just because, well, let me gauge how much money they might make. No, let me gauge a couple of things, actually. 3 questions you want to ask yourself. 3 questions you want to ask yourself when you ask someone what they do for a living. Not only how much money they make, how much time are they going to give me, and what skills are they possibly bringing into a relationship? Okay, again, money, time, and skills. That's what you want to find out when you ask them what they do for a living. Money, time, and skills. You want to find out, all right, is this a person that I can buy a house together with? That's important. Doesn't mean you're a gold digger if you're a man or woman who's asking and find out they're a lawyer. Okay, cool. Lawyer, more than likely, if they're a partner at a firm, they're breaking about 6 figures. If let's say they're working for a larger company in a smaller role, not even partner level, but maybe a junior level role, okay, maybe 40 to 60,000. So I know I can gauge that this person, not too bad. Okay. And by the way, one thing you're not going to find out is how much money they're keeping, but that's a whole nother subject. So we don't want to get into that right now. Time is of importance. Time is something you don't get back. Money can come and go, but time you don't get back. So you want to find out, how much time is this person going to give me? If you're a traveling salesman and you're always going to the airport, out and about, it's going to be maybe a little bit hard to get a lot of momentum going with that person from where you live. And if they have plenty of time and they're making a lot of money, hey, that's not too bad, right? That's pretty good, as long as they're not using that time to meet others, right? And they're committed to you. And then skills. Okay, this is the important piece. All right, okay. This person's a lawyer. What's the good and what's the bad of that? You can go stereotypical. You can go with frame of reference, whether you have friends, you have colleagues that are lawyers. Okay, they might be argumentative, right? That's a bad stereotype. Or they don't want to argue because they do that all day. Versus someone who provides, is a professional masseuse or does some sort of therapeutical type of profession. They may be used to talking to a lot of clients and being a little more on the emotional side, a little more on the caring, flowy side, softer side. And that's something they bring. Even though they make 30K or below, they're going to bring that. You're like, wait a minute. If I end up with a lawyer, okay, this is maybe my frame of reference. And as we continue to date, let me see if that matches up or doesn't match up. Okay, I'm dating someone who massages for a living. Maybe that's what I need. Maybe I'm the type A who needs a little more of that soft to compliment me. Or I need someone who's not as stressed. Or you know what? I want someone that embraces the chaos of the professional world, their career world. Because then I feel like we're both partners in this. We're both at the same caliber. But you can also risk being so stressed that you quit communicating and connecting with each other. That's bad. Okay, you may think we're a power couple. We're investing a lot of money in property. We're both breaking about $400K a year. But we've forgotten about the kids. We've gone from point A to point B work-wise. But when it comes to making eye contact and bonding, we are a D-. So these are the things that you need to be aware of, okay? And this may seem like rants, a random rant, but, I do this in a manner to where I want to inspire thought. I don't want to give you this clean-cut advice that may not apply to you or does apply to you, But I want you to start thinking and being aware of that. And let's review again, when you go on that date, when you're texting someone on Tinder, on Bumble, or just messaging, texting someone, ask them, hey, what do you do again for a living? What does your typical day look like? And if you want, you, without sounding too interviewee, you can ask them, hey, what do you think about your job you've applied to dating or your love life? They're gonna think that's an interesting question. It's gonna be a lot better than how's your day? Hey, hello, how's your day? Send nudes, right? It's gonna be a lot better than that. So you can ask them. You can say, hey, look, based on what you do professionally, what do you think? How do you think that helps you in the relationship world? And even if they've never thought of this question, at least they're now aware and say, you know what? There is more to my job. There is a lot more to my job. And you know what? This guy matters. This girl matters. Asking different questions. And now I have to be aware of, hey, what I do shapes what happens when I get home from work. And that's what I want you to realize, that you spend a lot of time at your job, and what you may bring, the good, bad, and ugly, does translate into dating. That can actually be the equator right there. That's what can balance everything out. If you're an asshole lawyer, you're making a lot of money, but you don't know how to connect with people, you are not as valuable as that middle junior manager for a Fortune 500 company who does know how to lead teams, does know how to talk to others. But at the same time, you could be the lawyer who has those skills, who enjoys connecting with people, loves people, wants a strong, solid relationship, and enjoys dating, has a positive outlook on dating. That's a winner. You can have a teacher who may care about kids, loves kids, hates dating. You can have a teacher who loves kids, loves dating. These are kind of things you need to be aware of. All right, people, time only passes us by. Take what I say, take what I've spoken on here as little points of awareness throughout your day, throughout your week, and apply them. There's someone out there for you. We just got to make sure we navigate this the right way. Don't get lost. Again, if you are from the Virginia, South Carolina, North Carolina region, do contact me. Let me know how you are doing. I will surprise you as a token of my appreciation, and also making sure that you're just safe, because that's how I am. I am a caring person. But I also have to practice the strong side, and the strong side can be a little bit assertive and decisive, but it's part of my balance. So hope you enjoyed this podcast. Let me know, comment below if there's a topic that you would want me to discuss. I also have some fun tips that I covered through my self-confidence transformation package. And this is $19, folks. So if you're interested in bettering yourself, okay, take that time, take half an hour away from the Netflix episode and you watch some of these videos that I have on my self-confidence transformation. It's $19. That's about 5 lattes, guys. So again, hope you enjoyed this podcast, and I will see you later. Take care.